Podcast Answer Man, episode number 87, and My Crazy Life, episode number 343 combined. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to, two podcasts in one. That's right, this is Podcast Answer Man, episode number 87, as well as My Crazy Life, episode number 343. And today, I'm going to be talking about going to CES. All right, folks, this is going to be the first of many talks regarding the Consumer Electronics Show 2009. And I want to start things off by saying thank you to everybody out there who has been patiently waiting for some details to come through as regarding the announcement that I made out on Twitter, on Plurk, and Facebook, and every place else that I posted it. And more importantly, and most importantly, of course, is the gspn.tv/forum. And I posted a little note out there that says, hey, I have some very exciting news. I did this a couple days ago, actually. And I said, unfortunately, it was actually last week. And I said, I'm going to have to wait to share this news with everybody until probably sometime next week or the week after. And of course, I hate to do that. I really do. And so many of you have tweeted back or emailed me or posted some replies to me in the forum and said, hey, Cliff, why are you teasing us? Come on, just spill the details. And this was before I even could say that, I was where I was going. So I just said, I have some very exciting news and stuff like that. And I hated, here's the deal. Here's what you know about Cliff so far. You know that I love to share my life online. It's pretty much what I'm all about. The good, the bad, and the ugly. But you get it all. But you get who I am and what's going on. Because I love to share things. It's not that I can't keep a secret, because I certainly can. Wow, what happened there? Anyway, early morning recording. Let's put it that way. But anyway, it's not that I can't keep a secret, because I can. It's just that I don't like to. And one of the things that I was concerned about by throwing out this little message out there to everybody saying, hey, I have some very exciting news, but I can't share with you until, it's all confirmed and everything. My fear, of course, with that is that it would get blown up and people would be excited about something major. And then all of a sudden they might hear when I finally announce what it is and they go, oh, is that all? And then all of a sudden, I ruin the expectations maybe of some of the people in the community as to what Cliff might consider really big news. And so I'm not a huge fan of teasing people with information. I really am not. So if anybody out there thinks that I've just been playing and toying with you guys, it's just not the case. So here's the deal. In this episode, I fully expected that I'd be able to give you all the details. But that's just not the case, unfortunately, today. However, what I can tell you is that I'm waiting for the final confirmation from the PR department to give me all the details. I know the basics of what's going to happen over the course of a week in Las Vegas in January for the CES 2009. But I don't know all the details of it. And as soon as I know those details, I'll be able to share them. And the details that I do know, I've just been asked not to share just yet. But I did get an email saying I could at least release to you guys that I'm going to CES. And I was really surprised. And looking back, it's like, well, duh, Cliff, why should you be surprised at that? Not everybody's a geek like you. But I was really surprised to learn that there were many people out there who have never heard of CES. They're like, what is CES? And even when I said, oh, it's the Consumer Electronics Show, they're like, and what's the Consumer Electronics Show? And I think that one of the reasons why I've been invited to go to CES is because of the community that we have, and the fact that, we have a very large audience of people who are not necessarily all geeked up, if you will. So basically, by me covering an event like CES, it will bring the information that is provided in that event to a much larger audience that would have never heard of the information otherwise. So let me go ahead and just say right now, off the top of the show here, what is CES? Now, many of you listening to the podcast Answer Man, higher percentage of you already know what CES is. As far as those listening to the My Crazy Life feed, a higher percentage of you do not know what the CES is. So let me just go ahead and go to Wikipedia here real quick. And this is what Wikipedia says. It says Consumer Electronics Show. The international, by the way, it is international. The International Consumer Electronics Show, also known as CES, is a trade show held each January in Las Vegas, Nevada, and is sponsored by the Consumer Electronics Association. It is a trade-only show and is not open to the general public. At the show, many previews of products are introduced or new products are announced. The show is held at Las Vegas at the Las Vegas Convention Center with additional venues used for specific specialities. The CES is now considered one of the major technology-related trade shows following the cancellation of Comdex. Now, the only thing I can tell you is where was I introduced to CES? I had never heard of CES, even though it was first held in 1967. But my first introduction to CES and what goes on there was back in the days when I was watching ZDTV, which then later became ZDTV. Or what, did I just say it again? Yeah. ZDTV, which then became Tech TV, which is where I first learned about Leo Laporte and the guys over there that do This Week in Tech and Twit.tv, and basically how I got introduced into the world of podcasting. So, yeah, very cool stuff indeed. So anyway, CES, I used to watch this all technology, all the time TV network on the dish satellite that we had. And I would just watch it all the time. And every year they would do special coverage from, wow, I'll tell you, my voice is giving out. Special coverage from CES. And I would look at the screen and I will tell you that I was glued to the television that entire week. Because they had, on Tech TV, they had several different shows, and almost all the shows that they produced on Tech TV all had people who were at CES covering it. So it was almost like being there as much as you can be there without being there. Yeah, that made sense. So anyway, so that's where I first heard about it, and then I watched CES every single year. Well, as many people know, Tech TV is no longer around. That channel no longer exists. It got purchased by G4 TV, and they turned it into something that is not all technology, to say the very least. So all the guys who used to be on Tech TV, all the hosts and stuff like that, they're out doing their own thing now. Leo Laporte really took the fan base that he had from Tech TV and really started up his podcast network. Some other guys like Kevin Rose started dig.com and they started Revision 3, which is their own podcast network, and some other folks have done some other things. I mean, people have moved on from there. And, of course, that's this new media world. There's the super geekdom of new media all still kind of follow those same people. And it's really neat to see how that's happened. It's all come full circle. And what's really cool is it's really put the community that was devoted to this technology-based network, it's kind of put us in this close circle now, and it's kind of neat to be able to interact on such a intimate level versus what used to be on television. But the thing is that because now you've got these folks from Tech TV that used to go to CES every single year. They kind of got burned out on it. And so sometimes they even talk about it with a little, it's like, I'm not going to go, blah, 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 blah. It's like, what? Come on. I love hearing about CES. And one of the things I know is, and have at least heard a lot about, is the fact that, when January rolls around that week, it's just absolutely maddening how many people are just scouring Google looking for information about stuff going on with CES. Well, I'm going to be one of those people providing information because I am going. So, what is CES? I'll tell you what. Let me go ahead and tell you what. Well, I'll tell you what. Before I play a little bit of a promo video for CES from their site, I do want to explain to you real quickly. I understand that not everybody listening and not everybody who's a part of our community is really excited about technology and gadgetry. And that's why, I wanted to get this out as quickly as possible, as much as I can, so that I can just say, hey, don't let this blow up too big. You might think, hey, Cliff's got something really exciting, when it's just technology. It's just gadgets, and there's so much of that out there. And there really is, but I hope to be covering it from a different perspective. I'll be covering it from really two perspectives. One is from a new media perspective. So you can bet that when I'm at the Consumer Electronics Show, I am going to be covering events looking at the new technology and new gadgets that will enable more new media kind of stuff. Podcasters interacting with audiences, technologies that bring communities together, those kind of things. Another one is I'm going to be very interested in covering it from a family perspective, the modern day family. And we'll talk about, high definition, all the different things that are going to be out there for families, video conferencing softwares and voice over IP, or what, I don't know what all is going to be. But the cool thing is this trade show is going to share a lot of stuff that is not available to the public yet, and it's all in beta. Well, not all of it's in beta, but a lot of it's going to be in beta. And it's really going to give just a little hint of what the future is like. And if nothing else, I invite you to listen, just because if you want to, there are a ton of you who are listening to My Crazy Life, which I think is totally cool. I love that you guys are so interested. And if you really want to know what one of the major things that drives me, it's technology and my love for and passion for technology. And if it wasn't for that, you would not have My Crazy Life, episode number 343. Come on. I am in love with technology. And so I want to share my love and passion for that with you guys. And I hope that many of you who are not into gadgetry, in technology, that you would at least come and take part in some of the things that I share over that week. And one other thing I want to say is that, where does my love for technology come from? And I want to just tell you that my love for technology has been around since I was a kid. As far back as I can remember. And I actually remember really far back. I remember a lot of things when I was a kid. And all of my memories tend to revolve around technology and gadgets and toys. And here, let me ask you this. Does anybody recognize this sound?
Now spell answer. A-N S-W-E-R. Correct. Now spell angel. A. Incorrect. Now spell abscess.
All right, there you go. So how many people out there, I would imagine that probably about 20% of the Podcast Answer Man audience, or I'm sorry, 80% of the Podcast Answer Man audience knows exactly what that toy is, and 20% of the My Crazy Life audience knows exactly what that toy is, just off the top of their head. It is, of course, the Texas Instrument Speak and Spell. Now, I don't remember at what age I had one of these, but I was pretty young, and I loved this toy. It was by far my favorite toy. I played every single little tiny minute game it had on it. I learned how to get it to say things it's not supposed to say. I learned how to do things on that thing. I learned how to, do a couple hacks, if you will. And I remember after a while finally getting up the courage to say, okay, well, I wonder how this works. And I remember getting a screwdriver out of the garage and bringing it into the house, and then all of a sudden going up to the bedroom and unscrewing the back screws out of it and taking it apart and looking and seeing the circuit board inside and the little speaker and playing around with things. I mean, that's how I've always been. And it goes back to the Atari days. It goes back to the days of the Commodore VIC-20, just fiddling and playing. And I mean, I took apart everything when I was a kid. If you gave it to me, I would leave it intact for at least 2 or 3 weeks, play with it, and then I had to find out how it works. And so today, even on television, there are these shows out there, especially on the Science Channel. There are, how things work, and, those shows that it's called Deconstructors. There's a new one called Deconstructors, which they do a really good job. They cut it right in half. They actually do exactly, how stuff works. They actually go to factories and stuff like that. But I love Deconstructors because they actually deconstruct things in the same way that I used to. And they explain, oscillators, compressors, and all these different things and bits and pieces inside. It's like, oh, wow, that is so cool. I didn't realize that I was touching a unit that could have shocked the crap out of me and possibly killed me with 5,000 volts. That's really cool to know. Anyway, but I've had this love for technology since I was a kid, and the Speak and Spell, totally awesome. Yeah. The funny thing is, I wish they had a Speak and Spell voice for all the text to speech stuff that they have out there. That would be totally awesome. If anybody knows where I can get that, let me know. Next up, okay, I'm here at the CES website. I've had this pulled up here, and I want to share with you some promotional videos that are found. You can, by the way, learn a lot about CES and the Consumer Electronics Show if you're interested at cesweb.org. Let me go ahead and play this first video here and let you hear a little bit about what's going to be there.
Access to technology is a basic human right, and the 2009 International CES is making this one of its central themes. Hello, I'm Tara Dunyan with CES TV. The 2009 International CES, the world's largest consumer technology trade show, will focus on the belief that regardless of who you are and where you live, technology should be accessible to all. Last year, CES launched the Technology in Emerging Countries program, which focused on the role technology plays to further economic development. This program will continue in an even bigger way in 2009. One noteworthy development is that it will now be a featured keynote session on Friday, January 9th from 1 to 4 p.m. in the Venetian's Palazzo Ballroom. Craig Barrett, chairman of the board for Intel, and John Chambers, the chairman and CEO for Cisco, are both scheduled to speak. They will address technology's impact on developing economies and ideas for utilizing technology for economic growth. This access to technology theme will also be included in many of the CES conference sessions. CES draws huge attendance from the entertainment industry, which supports this cause by producing content that is in high demand all over the world and helps break down barriers and foster cultural understanding. CES is the place to be this January, with more than 130,000 international and domestic attendees expected, and the opportunity to see 2,700 exhibitors from across the globe. It's a lot more cost-effective and productive to attend this year's CES than to meet with each of these companies individually. Make sure to tune into cesweb.org for more breaking news. I'm Tara Dunyan for CES TV.
Alrighty, so that is one of the promo videos, and of course, in this promo video, they highlight the fact that they're pushing an agenda. And when we're talking about a basic human right to access to technology, it sounds good, and I'm totally all for it. Trust me. But gosh, is that a strong statement? I wonder. But the thing is that I do believe that technology and access to it certainly does and bring some improvement in life. Although I wonder how some of the who is it now that doesn't embrace technology? Is it the Amish, I believe? I wonder how they would feel about the fact that access to technology is a basic human right. It just seems awful strong. Don't know if I agree with the statement, but I certainly believe in the vision of bringing access to every human. That, having that ability and the access there would be awesome. But I think that technology, it has its ups and downs, just like everything else in life, though. Here is another focus of CES in this video. Coming now.
Digital entertainment, along with in-vehicle, wireless, and green technology, will all take center stage at this year's International CES. Hello, I'm Allison Carney. Attendees can expect to see thinner screens, Wi-Fi technology, and a focus on in-car electronics. With OLED technology coming into play, the next generation of HD sets will be on display in 2009. And everything seems to be going mobile these days. From video to data to voice, Wi-Fi will be taken to new levels with products about to be launched. Digital imaging is also set to be a major show highlight with the 2009 CES Digital Imaging Showcase, tripling in size over last year. And it looks as though the car is the new frontier for innovation, with GPS and location-based services shaping up to be huge themes this year. In fact, the location-based services is set to be one of the most highly trafficked areas on the show floor. And CES has just announced its preliminary keynote lineup for the 2009 show. Steve Ballmer, CEO of Microsoft, will kick things off on Wednesday night, January 7th at 6:30 for the pre-show keynote address. Then on Thursday morning, January 8th, Gary Shapiro, President and CEO of the Consumer Electronics Association, will deliver his State of the CE Industry at 8:30, followed by the opening keynote by Howard Stringer, CEO of Sony Electronics, at 9. And finally, Thursday afternoon, Alan Mulally will continue the CES focus on in-vehicle electronics with his keynote at 4:30 as the CEO of Ford Motor Company. Attendees will also want to check out CES's new CE Spotlights. Silver Summit is breaking onto the scene as an exhibition and conference program focused on technology products and innovation for the older generation of technology users, while Kids at Play will highlight the latest technologies targeted toward children. And as the CE industry strives to comprehensively reduce its environmental footprint through eco-design and sustainable business practices, the Greener Gadgets Tech Zone will feature environmentally and economically sustainable technologies, which contribute to the social and cultural growth of the developing world. Make sure to stay tuned to cesweb.org for more breaking news. I'm Allison Carney for CES TV.
Alrighty, folks. So here's what I picked up out of this one here, this little promo. Number one, as a person who's finally made a decision to go to purchase their very first HD TV, which I'm very happy with, by the way, and amazed at the difference in quality and picture and the crispness of HD TV. It's just amazing. It took me forever to be able to take that plunge, and we finally did it, and wow, is it amazing. But now the thing is out there right now, there are three different types there are many different types, but the three main types there of HD TVs that if you go into the store, you're certainly going to see all three of them displayed. One is plasma, one is LCD, and the other one is DLP. I'm not going to describe all of them here, maybe in future episodes and stuff like that, but the OLED TVs, I'm very excited to see that and take a look and see how those pictures look, because OLED lights are extremely crisp and bright in all the different displays that I've seen up to this date, but I've only seen them in small displays. I'll be interested in seeing a big TV with them. Now, it talked about location-based services and GPS. You know what? I'm a huge fan of GPS. I'm so thankful that my iPhone now has one. And whenever I go somewhere now, I can just pull it up. It tells, my iPhone tells me everything, like where I'm at, and then it tells me all the things I want to know around me: a grocery store, a gas station, the price of the gas. It's just amazing what this technology is showing us now. And so anyway, what I want to let you know there is that, they're talking about putting all this stuff in cars. Well, my question is did the car industry, are they too late? I mean, honestly, are they too late? We're already talking about, bailing the car industry out and stuff like that. Is really making cars more expensive by putting GPS navigation systems? Is that really going to help things? I don't know. But the thing is of course, now you got handheld technologies that can basically replace a unit in a dashboard. I mean, honestly, why? I just don't understand why they're finally just now getting around to adopting it. When many cars have had navigation systems for a long time. The thing is, computers get updated and out of place. The only thing I could think is if the car industry accepts, if they actually do adopt some technology, starting putting computers and displays in as standard bits and pieces of cars, they're going to need to make it modular, meaning that you can unplug a hard drive and put in a new one. Those kind of things. They're going to have to make that relatively easy to have done, in my opinion. But I'll be interested in seeing that. You heard some of the CEO keynotes that are going to be there. Major corporations from all over the world are going to be here, and not just the ones you mentioned there. But here are two. Of course, then there's the greener gadgets. I'm interested in that. I am not somebody who has really thought about the green movement, but it is definitely something that's been more and more on the horizon as I get involved with a lot of very green conscious people and renewable and sustainable technologies. I am interested. I love the earth, and I want to protect it, and I want to make it beautiful for my children and their children and their children's children. So it is definitely something I'm interested in, and maybe I can get more excited about while I'm there. And I look forward to covering that. And of course, for, like I said, the families, I can guarantee you that I am going to be very interested at the track for in the section that's set up for Kids at Play technology. So I will be definitely covering that for the family elements of CES. And then, of course, there is one more promo video, and this one's going to be very interesting to the folks of Podcast Answer Man. And I'm playing it now.
The International CES will be the hotspot for the entertainment, content, and broadcast industries for 2009. Hello, I'm Sarah Zabo. The latest in digital trends, specifically in new hardware and software meant for digital entertainment delivery, will be available at this year's CES. Major content and digital entertainment companies will be on display at the upcoming 2009 CES. In fact, Sony Pictures chief Steve Moscow has gone on record saying CES is the can't-miss event for the content community. New in the world of content at the 2009 CES will be the Global Media Awards. This inaugural awards program, focused on technology and content programming, will be hosted by the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. For the third consecutive year, the Technology and Engineering Emmy Awards will be held, honoring achievements in science and technology for television and advanced media technology. With even more in the content realm, content at CES is a must-see that will feature content companies that create, deliver, and distribute all in one centralized location. Aside from content at CES, CES offers a host of content-themed conference sessions, including Digital Hollywood, CES Mobile Entertainment, CES Game Power, and Billboard's Digital Music Live. It's also fun to note that key technologies, such as the VCR, DVD, DVR, digital media server, and IPTV were all first introduced at past shows. It's only safe to assume that the next generation of technologies will be introduced at the 2009 International CES. Stay tuned to CESweb.org for more breaking news. I'm Sarah Zabo for CES TV.
All right, folks. There you have it. So basically, what we have here is the content creation part of it. She said that this is the can't miss event for content creators. And, of course, anybody who's listening to Podcast Answer Man and those of us who are creating content, creating podcasts, creating video blogs and stuff like that, what I want to say to you is that I know this is going to be geared towards Hollywood style entertainment and TV, major TV networks and broadcast television, broadcast radio, whatever. It's going to be focused on them. Because those are the people with lots of money right now. But what's really awesome is that I believe there's going to be technology there that is going to be released that's going to start allowing us independent content producers, because this is really the direction things are going in the future. I mean, this whole digital delivery system brings access to anybody. And that, I think that was most notably seen. It's been seen in a lot of areas, but I'd say most notably seen with the Apple TV. So here's the deal: you get a general public audience who now can go out and buy this thing known as an Apple TV, and it will basically download content from iTunes. Now, of course, that means you can watch TV shows, you can listen to your music there, you can watch movies and rent movies and all this other stuff. But not only that, but you can actually bring in audio and video podcasts from people like, well, the folks here at GSPN.TV, my wife and I, and we can show up on your big screen in your living room. And that's pretty exciting stuff. And I'm hoping that there'll be even more opportunities in the future for that kind of stuff. I'm all for big entertainment because I love it. I love a good movie. I love a good TV show. There's no question about that. Just look at the programming we do here at GSPN.TV. But I'm really excited about the fact that in the future, the trend is that people want to go to some user-generated or some community-generated content, and having that available right next to the other stuff, I think is the way of the future, honestly. I don't think the big entertainment's ever going to go away, but I think that really to keep up, they're going to want to be able to incorporate the fan-based communities around this. How awesome would it be is if you, in the future, let's say 3, 4, 5 years down the road. Now, I know Lost won't be around there, but around then. But what if you were watching the TV show Lost, and then right after the TV show was done, a little screen popped up and it told you other resources surrounding this show available to you right now, and it had a video podcast episode or an audio podcast episode devoted to that TV show, and you could click on it and subscribe to it, and all of a sudden, just like when your DVR records Lost and tells you that it's available for you, it also has these podcasts downloaded and available for you. And in the future, it'll all be wirelessly synced with your iPods or your mobile device of whatever, and maybe even wirelessly synced to your car in the garage or driveway. And it's just some really awesome stuff. I'm hoping to see some of those kind of technologies and things like that. But anyway, so you get a feel for what the International CES is. How big is this thing? I can only tell you, I can only imagine how big it is. I've never been to Las Vegas, so I am excited about that. Las Vegas is a place I've always wanted to be, and to go and to visit. I always wanted to take my wife there, though, but I'm so thankful and grateful to God for my wife, who is so generous and has no problem with me going on this event. And in fact, she's actually very excited for me, in spite of the fact that we had hoped that we would hit Vegas together. You know what I meant. But anyway, very excited about it. The only thing I could tell you is that I've never been there. I don't know how big the convention center is, but from what I understand, it's huge. But not only do they take the entire convention center, they take up pretty much most of the hotel space that's down on the Strip, the Venetian, and all these other places. Just I can't remember how many football fields worth of space that's out there. And the one good thing is, for those of you listening to My Crazy Life, as far as getting steps in, I probably will walk I don't know, 15 miles a day or something. Who knows? But I can guarantee you getting 10,000 steps a day will be the least of my problems when I'm at CES. So that's the gist of it. That's what I wanted to share with you. Now, moving forward, where do I go from here? I have all these podcasts that I produce, and obviously today, this episode is both a Podcast Answer Man episode and a My Crazy Life. It's the same episode put out in both feeds. And I'm wondering, okay, what am I going to do? Where do I cover CES in the GSPN.TV lineup? Do I create GSPN at CES? Or do I create something else, something completely different? And do I create it in its own feed? How do I get the word out to everybody in the community and tell everybody what's going on and stuff like that? So over the next couple days, that's going to be generally what I'm focused on as far as thinking about how to best cover CES in a way that it hits everybody. And I'm thinking probably since it is electronics, it'll probably centrally located over at podcastanswerman.com. And I think as far as getting the word out to the community, the initial thought off the top of my head is to just make sure that I make announcements to everybody in all the shows as we produce them. Hey, during this week in January, 8th through the 11th, you want to check this out, and putting it in the newsletter and all those good things. So anyway, that's the big news that I've been sharing, and how exciting it is. It's pretty much exciting for me, but I really believe it's going to be exciting for the community, because I think I really am. I have a good, I've got my finger on the pulse of the community, and I think I understand what it is that you guys are interested in, and the fact that it's going to have a lot to deal with entertainment. It's going to have a lot to do with family, and it's going to have a lot to do with just general, how to keep connected with one another. And I think that we'll find something of interest for everybody. And at the very least, I think people will get excited about what Cliff is excited about. And that seems to have been the case in the past. And I certainly don't doubt that it will be the case moving forward. Well, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this dual episode here. I want to say thank you for being subscribed, both to the Podcast Answer Man, and for those of you who are Plus members, thank you for also becoming a Plus member so that you do get every episode of My Crazy Life. And I will be back very soon with more details. As far as I'll be back with more details soon. And for those of you who are out there on the Podcast Answer Man feed, same deal there. I will certainly be letting you know how things go. And I do have tons of podcast and new media stuff in the works as well. So there'll be those podcast-related episodes coming soon as well. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.